Hello, welcome back to We Should Have Gone to University. I'm Ashley.
I'm Jamie.
I'm Damien.
Welcome to the New Metal podcast. New Metal is great. We like new metal. Yeah, so we're in a room right now chatting about albums we used to listen to. Some have been good. Some haven't lived up to the hype, right?
Indeed.
Which is
Some have changed our preconceptions.
Yeah, so, anyway, so we also have a band which is called Answer Me, and we just talk about band shit, you know? I'm sure, listen, if you listen to this and you're in a band, you know all the shit that goes into it, all the stuff. It's funny, right? We just had a little thing where we book practice, or I book practice sometimes, and...
most times you book
but
practice.
one member didn't know that it was the day, and so do you have WhatsApp in America? What do you use?
Some people use that, but it's not as popular.
What do you use to talk to everybody?
Mostly Messenger or
really?
like Google. I'm sorry. What's it called? Facebook Messenger. It's
Okay. So in Europe, anyway, we use WhatsApp, which is basically just, everyone, if you know, it's just a messaging thing, whatever. And in Japan, they have a thing called Line. So. And I had no idea that Line has a calendar function, etc. So,
yeah, they got a bunch of shit on there.
Yeah, now I can write all that stuff in there and everyone can see all the details. So I'm really happy about that anyway. But anyway, Dave, you alright? Everything good?
Good, man. Yeah. I have...
Are you still gutted about Game of Thrones?
No, I don't care. I watched it with my wife, but I even like this last couple episodes just made me not. I feel
devastated.
Happy. I'm happy I didn't engage. I didn't spend time watching.
Also, John Wick 3 is coming out as well. Are you a fan?
I saw the first one. I thought it was really good.
John 2 is better.
See,
really?
I thought 2 was awful. I like the car part, and that's it. But the third one looks quite interesting. I saw the trailer.
I don't think it's getting a cinema release in Japan.
What? Looks cool. Anyway, Jamie, right? Everything good?
I'm good. Yeah.
How's the end of the football season's just finished now, so...
It's absolutely killing me, to be honest.
Yeah, shit, innit?
I scored an absolute banger on FIFA last night, mate. I nearly took a video and sent it to you. I genuinely...
That's a video game?
Yeah, football video game.
I genuinely, jumped up, yes!
But
so
it doesn't
good.
make sense to me that you only play just the exhibition mode, right?
Yeah.
So, Dave, on FIFA, the football game, right?
Okay.
There's a mode where you can be a manager and you can buy and sell players and stuff, etc.
Yeah, make your dream team.
Jamie doesn't do it. It blows my mind.
You just take a pre-made team.
He just plays and he adds. There's a whole game where you can actually play as the team with seasons and buying players and the whole.
You just play like a
job,
single match.
And he's not interested in it.
I just like to play the upcoming fixtures. I like the realism of it.
Wow.
So you'll play
if there's 10 games in the Premier League this weekend, I will play those 10 games and I'll choose the team that's the most fun to play with.
Wow.
But then I always play Newcastle with Newcastle's all the time. And I imagined it was the start of next season, and I played Wolves away, and I just got an absolute banger.
All right.
Interesting.
So, all right. So, by the way, we live in Japan, right? So we all live in Japan. We have this band. Anyway, so funny Japan story today. So,
oh boy,
I went into McDonald's today to get a coffee. I don't know why I love McDonald's coffee, and the person working there was not Japanese.
Oh, cool.
Really?
They were I think Indian or something, but they could speak Japanese.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's a weird thing in Japan where when you talk to a Japanese person, they'll try to reply to you in English. But when you meet a staff member who is not Japanese, it's kind of hard to get out of the mode. So
yeah,
I spoke to her in Japanese.
Yeah.
But she didn't get what I meant. So I thought, maybe it's because she was expecting me to speak English and she just didn't hear me or whatever.
Shit.
So I said, "Can I have a coffee?" And she just didn't get it. So then I said it in English, and then she tried to answer back to me in Japanese, and I was like, "Yes," and then
she got all fucking tongue-tied.
It was just like it was weird. We were trying to communicate with each other, and it was fucking weird. Tim, have you had any weird, funny communication problems recently with anything?
No, it's all been pretty. Since I got back from the States, I've been pretty aggressive with people, actually.
Okay.
People stare at me and my kids a lot. And I don't mind people staring at me, but when people start staring at my kids or touching my kids in the grocery store,
oh, okay,
it kind of becomes a problem. So I've gotten hyper aggressive.
Interesting. I've been a little bit since I got back from London.
Really?
Yeah,
edgy.
Absolutely. Yeah, completely. Things wind me up easily.
Oh, okay.
It happens every time.
I'm starting to I'm starting to calm back down. I think I'm just on alert in London that like just everyone's a fucking prick.
Okay. Yeah, I never get that.
Like dude, I was at Costco the other day, and we were eating lunch outside. You know how they have like plexiglass windows there?
Yeah.
People were staring through the plexiglass windows, and like everybody stopped when I made eye contact. This one dude didn't. And he kept staring. So I started making like hand signals, like stop looking at me, like cutting my throat, like knock it off. He kept staring, and kept like nodding at me. And I finally banged on the glass as hard as I could. And he like, oh shit! And he turned around and like left me the fuck alone from then on.
Wow.
But, like,
Wow.
Yeah, I'm getting a little edgy. I need to relax.
Zen Damien.
No, I totally get that. It's,
Have you had anything like that where you like get so pissed that you like?
No, not at all. Because I understand it.
I was talking to Natasha, the girl. She came and took photos.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And we were just chatting about like, she said how does Lena find living in Japan and stuff like that. My fiance is Russian, by the way, and she said that when she goes back to Russia for 2 months every summer because she can't handle the heat.
Oh, okay.
And then when she comes back to when she gets back to Russia for the first couple of weeks, she's like super polite. And Russian people think she's weird because she's used to. And then she said by the time she gets to the end of that time, she's like being really aggressive back when people piss her off. And then when she comes back to Hiroshima, like she's aggressive and like Japanese people will do something to slightly piss her off and she'll snap back at them. And then like it takes her a while to like calm down. But I totally get that, Damien. I've been a bit of a...
Yeah, I never get that.
I've been like... People have said things on Facebook and Twitter that have pissed me off and I've just like jumped on it and like...
weird.
Yeah,
no,
weird.
The only thing that annoys me is like... so before... When we have practice in the night... So I take because I got all my gear, I take the bus into the city, and it's ridiculous, right? So I get on there, I don't sit down because I got all my gear, so I put it in there's a front section of the bus where you put the
like your luggage or whatever.
And I stand there, right? But all the seats are fucking open. There's nobody on the bus, right? But when they get on, because they see me standing, they just assume that no one is sitting down. They can't even look up for a second to check because they're so embarrassed, like just checking to look for a chair or whatever. That everyone just stands in the fucking aisle. And I said, last Thursday, yesterday, was a record. There were 6 people standing in the fucking aisle. I was counting 1, 2, and nobody checked behind for every seat is fucking open.
Nuts, dude.
It wound me up so much. Anyway, but that's about it.
Yeah, the conformity here is on like a different
Oh
level.
my god, it's crazy. And another thing that annoys me, but it's kind of funny, is that when I'm on the train, sometimes a student will get on the train and see me, and they'll be like, they're too embarrassed to talk to you, so they bring out an English textbook, and they just kind of like turn around so you can see it.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. That's really funny.
And I can tell they want you to like engage or something, but I never do. I'm like, fuck
hello.
you. Say hello to
me
today.
And something else that I found, and I always notice this, things in Japan work a lot better than back home. Like, just in terms of, I don't know how efficient everything is, but there's one thing that English people do and Japanese people don't, and it's been pissing me off so much since I've got back. If, like, on the bus, for example, when you're coming up to the bus stop, in England, people will be stood up, ready. They'll have, usually in England, you pay when you get on the bus anyway.
Right.
Maybe that's part of it, but people will be stood up, waiting for their stop, and they'll get off. In Japan, people don't stand up until the bus stops, and then they'll walk to the front and they'll be in a queue, and then they'll be fucking around in their bag looking for their wallet and then counting up. It's like, I'm just like, fuck off. You've been sat here.
Yeah. I get ready and I walk
seriously, man.
and I stand at the end until the bus stops, and then I pay and I get the fuck off the bus. Yeah.
But then I can't really claim the moral high ground because I had to have you two meet me on the bus last Sunday to pay for me.
At least those people have money.
And then the worst thing was on Tuesday I went to charge my Icoca card and I had 400 yen on my Icoca card, which was in my yeah, I'd have been fine.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, Jamie was on the bus and he didn't have any money. He only had British money in it.
So basically 10p pieces look like 100 yen coins.
100 yen, and he texted us like, oh guys, he was kind of joking like, oh, I've got no money. So I was like, oh Jamie, I'll just meet you at the stop, I'll give you the cash, whatever. And he's like, no, I could get away with it. I was like, so I met Dame, we're like, Dame, should we just let him do it, and I was like, fuck it, let's do it. It's not worth it, but that was funny.
Yeah, you would have shut that whole bus down, dude.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe they called the police or something. I wonder
That's
what
what
they
I
do.
was thinking. I was like,
I was like, it's not worth it. We got
missing
a
a
gig
gig for the sake of doing
Yeah,
the
yeah, we had a gig too. It was good, right?
It was
Man,
very good.
Yeah.
Man, when the sound is that, when I can hear everything so clearly, I just feel I can relax, and that's the only problem I have is like if I'm a little bit like, I can't hear something, then I don't want to move about as much. But when I can hear as well as that, fucking loved it. Great gig. Yeah. And we've written two new songs we've almost finished now, Dame. So when you're ready, I'll come over
do
and
it,
we'll work
man.
on it. So anyway, so today we're doing Refused, The Shape of Punk to Come, Chimerical Abomination in 12 Bursts is the full title.
Oh, that's actually part of the title?
Yeah.
It wasn't on the Spotify thing. It just said
I think it's all short in The Shape of Punk to Come. I guess it's one of those things where they made the long title and thought, let's just keep it. The Shape of Punk to Come is a good enough title. They don't need all the rest
just leave
of
it there.
So this band is Swedish, right? Actually, I had no idea. This album was released on October 27, 1998 on Burning Heart Epitaph Records, and they literally broke up a month or two after this album.
Wow, so they didn't tour or anything off of it?
I guess not. So, James, you chose this. How did you hear this album?
So, I have a lot to say on this. This got recommended. One of the songs, track 6, A New Noise, was a single. It was on a Metal Hammer CD. It was on. They did a video for it. I think it was on MTV and Headbangers Ball, and it became like this band were like really, really anticipated, and then it came out, and when I bought it, I was actually... So my love affair with this band has absolutely followed what actually happened to them. They released this album, and it didn't get very well received, and then they broke up, and then over the last 20 years, this album has just become an absolute classic. It's been voted in like top 50 influential albums of the last century and things like that. And to put it in perspective, when they announced that they reformed through basically requests from fans,
right.
Everyone was saying you need to get back together, and I saw them. I went to the gig. I specifically went to Download just to see them, and the singer said the last time we played in the UK, we played to 52 people in a pub in Stoke-on-Trent. And it was the night we decided to quit this band because no one gave a fuck. And now there's 60,000 of you there watching us.
That's crazy.
This album is like, you hear you hear stories in music like this. Like there was the song that they used on the Levi's advert that was released in the 70s, and it only sold a few hundred records. But then they decided to use it on a Levi's advert, and then
it took
the
off.
guy re-released it and then became a millionaire.
Yeah.
Like it's not that comparable, but. I don't know what it is. I don't know if they were ahead of their time, or I know that they're a massive influence on the Hives.
Yeah.
The way
Sweden, right?
the way that the Hives dress on stage, and the way that they move, and the way that like even the guitar player, the way he strums and stuff.
Yeah.
Refused were basically.
I
massively influenced them.
That's what I read about them, is that like apparently there was no scene in Sweden, and this band, after they quit, they just sprouted. They basically spawned the seed of all the Swedish bands.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I also like they've done an album since this that I think is okay. It's nothing special. I don't know. Just
probably too late, right?
I don't know. I just think sometimes a group of people manage to write. They just do a body of work that's just
that's cool.
Lives on, or gets better. But when I bought this album, I was like, oh, it's good. My favourite song on the album was a single, and I was just like, and then I kind of forgot about it, and then I kept reading, Refused, J-Punk to Come. I was like, is it really that good? And I listened to it again, and I thought, this is amazing. And then all the like public canvassing for them to play again, and then seeing them at Download, it was crazy.
Were they good live?
Fucking amazing.
Very good.
And also, considering the kind of band that they are, to be playing at like 4 PM in an open air festival and still just
cool
carnage and bodies everywhere.
Yeah, I think
incredible.
I'd heard of them, and I think I'd heard one song on a single, and then one song I'd heard, but I didn't know I'd heard it. one after listening to this, I was like, oh, I remember this. But they're one of those bands I had seen written down, never listened to.
It sounds a really generic name, doesn't it? Refused. It sounds like there's like been a load of metal bands like that.
I've heard them a million times. I just never got around to them though. But for me, it's the first time hearing anything they've done really. Dave, have you ever heard of them before?
I've never heard of this before.
This is a punk band. Are you a punk fan? I mean,
I don't dislike it when I hear it, but I just don't seek it out.
See, this doesn't sound like punk to me.
Yeah, it obviously doesn't. But like, you know, the whole thing of being a punk band, you know, even those, like, what kind of punk bands do you like? What do you consider punk? Like, is
probably
good punk?
Black Flag is like I actually have some on my playlist, but otherwise I don't really.
Yeah, I love Black Flag.
Snot is probably the closest I've gotten to like punk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jim, what other like punk bands do you like?
I honestly don't know. I don't know what to. I remember when I was like 12, 13 and I got into Green Day and Offspring and I was like, I like punk, and then now it's now. Early Offspring's pretty punky though, but they like, like you said, like Minor Threat and. So I thought I'd heard Discharge when I was a kid and thought they were quite punky, but then I listened to them at your apartment. And, that's not punk at all. It's like.
Yeah, so for me, I think every level of punk I've loved. Like I loved the Ramones.
Yeah.
See, I've never.
I love the Ramones. Are so good. And even it's funny because people think of punk as being a British, whatever. But like the Ramones came over to London and they played a gig, and basically everyone, like all the Sex Pistols guy, the Clash, all these guys were there, like, and all of them spawned off and formed bands or whatever.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, and then hardcore Black Flag and fucking Minor Threat, Fugazi, I like all that shit.
It's weird. I was watching a Fugazi live video today. Like the algorithm threw it out on Facebook.
Really, you know, kind of not great, but like, and then later pop punk, like, you know, fucking Blink and Green Day, whatever.
Right.
I love it. And even like hardcore, my favorite hardcore is the one that's got that like punky thing to it, or whatever. And, I don't know.
When I was in my first metal band, like there was a really big punk scene in Hull. And it was a pleasure to be part of. Like, I used to go to some of the punk nights. There was a band called Freaks Union, and they were fucking amazing.
Yeah,
like, absolutely amazing. And the bass player Stu, he's in a band that have just been signed. Actually, they're called Life. They're getting really big.
Oh, okay, I haven't heard them yet.
They got signed to a big label, and it's not punk at all. But I've never really been into punk, but I love it. Some of the coolest people I've met in like rock or alternative or whatever.
Yeah, there's a lot of bands like
I've been
Propaganda and Wilhelm Scream and those guys, like metal mixed with punk. I love it. Anyway, so personnel, these guys are Swedish. I'm butchering the names. Dennis Lyxzén on vocals. There's a Y and a X in it and a Z. YXZ. Fucking hell.
Yeah, how do you pronounce that?
Next one, Christopher Steen on guitars, bass and drums. Joe Brandstrom, guitars, sample synths. David Sandstrom, drums, melodica and guitars. Magnus Bjorklund on bass and cello. Produced by Eskil Lostrom, Pelle Henriksson and Banziken in Refused. Mixed by Andrew Nilsson and the guys in Refused. So they produced and mastered everything too, which is quite interesting. No Pro Tools with this as well at the time.
Pretty cool.
All 24-track, 2-inch tape. Yeah, and oh man, so after they broke up, they released a breakup letter on the blog, and I read it, and one of the things I hate about punk is true punk people.
Yeah.
Like, fuck capitalism and all this shit, whatever.
That was my massive issue with Funeral for a Friend singer.
Oh, really? Oh, Matt.
Yeah. I
know what you mean.
He basically gave an interview where he said he was having real issues with how big his band was getting because it felt it wasn't being true to his roots. And I just felt like saying, if you were worried about that, why did you sign to the same label as Metallica and Red Hot Chili Peppers? You fucking twat.
I know what you mean. Dave, how do you feel about the whole punk, like, political, you know, capitalism is the devil, etc.?
I think I'm friends with a couple of guys that are still like that back home.
Yeah.
Me too.
And fucking, I wouldn't change them for the world. Like, they're some of the best people, and they just, like, have chosen to stick through their ideals through and through, you know, but they still have to eat, and they still have to, like, buy groceries like we all do.
Yeah,
but I don't think it's got anything to do with actual punk music. I've got friends who have the same kind of
Yeah.
consumerism and capitalism. Like I don't know.
Yeah, it does have that.
I'm with you, Dave. I've
stigma.
still got friends like that, and
Oh,
I
me,
just
yeah, me too. But I just feel like when people start
maybe
talking
they're better
about,
than me. I just
yeah, no, I like that
There's
they're
other things I'd wanna talk.
open-minded and kind of, it's progressive, right? Isn't it? It's not like it could be like let's say hair metal where everyone's like, I don't know, just party and take drugs and bang girls, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it is, even though it is a bit. It is much better. It is positive thinking, whatever. And when these guys do these bands, like Ramones just sang about girls and shit, right?
Yeah.
But these kind of bands, like they're, when you're young, you're working out your brain, aren't you? And you're trying to figure out things out. And if you're a guy who's like, wait a minute, these people pay taxes, these people don't pay taxes, that's not right. And they're right, they're right. But at the same time, the world works in a certain way, and if you don't grasp that, and it's not like you accept it, but like some parts of like people singing punk songs, I'm like, for God's sake, like
I identify with it so much because I had those same sentiments and stuff, but I think like what's happened is I've gotten older and become jaded and felt like I can't change it, and so I have to change myself.
Yeah.
And these people don't feel that way, and they feel like they can change the world still, and I appreciate that. I love it. Like
well, I was gonna say it's all positive. Like I said, my outlook of thing has always been like when people talk about these topics, whatever it is, like gender or sex or whatever, people like that, I think they're forgetting what people are and how we are, etc.
Yeah,
like
we've talked about
for
this,
example, we talked about Korn, and what's that song? It was about a man raping a baby and then smashing it against a wall or something, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously, if we could go, all right, everyone, just be cool, everyone be nice, everyone help each other, and that'd be great, right? But that's just not reality. And I think if you focus on just going, no, it's going to change, it's not going to change.
Right.
So we have to figure out how to make to make the world operate in a way that is still not just being dreamy and like everyone just be friends. It's impossible.
There is a level of like in your immaturity and in being a kid, like you kind of think about the world in this way that's not
exactly
necessarily
and I felt like this even back then, even when all my friends were the punk bands and saying all this shit, and I was like but then again, they're still being positive. This is not like pushing drugs or anything. They're trying to be positive. They're singing a positive message, trying to raise people up and to be good. And you can't argue with it. Even though I do find it a bit like shut the fuck up sometimes. It's still good people being positive. All they're doing is trying to think of like veganism or fucking taxes and things like that. There's not one negative thing about it, is it? So you can't argue with that.
Right.
I do find it really a bit like too much sometimes. Anyway, let's rock on, shall we? All right, so the first song is called Worms of the Sense / Faculties of the Skull. Worms of the Sense. Worms of the Sense. What does that mean? Faculties of the Skull. Do you know what blows my mind? Is that these guys are Swedish. So English,
but they're English. But it's always foreign bands because it's same if you read a Japanese translation. It's always overcomplicated English.
But before we move on to the song, right? Dame, do you know the Eurovision Song Contest?
Nope.
Basically, it's a big European competition where everyone sings a song and we judge.
Oh, so it's like American Idol, but
it was originally supposed to be you share your culture, like like you do that. But before anyone says, I know ABBA sang in English, but everyone sings in English. Every country sang.
So how do you share your culture?
Exactly. It's just meaningless now. Germany all sing in English. Italy, why they don't sing in their own language? It's literally meaningless, right? Anyway, why do these guys why do they choose to sing in English? Is it because it's broader appeal?
I mean,
Scandinavians, like they everyone speaks English, don't they? So
I know, but they do speak Swedish too. So why didn't they? I mean. I don't mean why. I'm not like having a go. I'm saying why.
No,
what's the thinking?
Maybe they wanted to reach a more global audience, which, considering that they're against capitalism, is just bollocks in itself.
Exactly. That's why I was like, it doesn't make sense.
Why does that make sense to be global yet against capitalism?
Well, because if they're so punk and they don't care about it.
Then there's that's a good point. But then there's they either did it for two reasons. They did it to get their message out more, or they did it to sell more records and make more money for the band. So I'm sorry, that was a bit ignorant of me, but what I meant was it was one of those two reasons, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think like you kind of get to a certain point with like,
and considering that they broke up because this album didn't sell many records, I reckon it was.
Is it because it didn't sell records or because people didn't care? You know what I mean? Like if you feel like you have a political movement, because it seems like a lot of these songs are politically motivated.
Definitely.
If you feel like you don't have like backing to that, and you just like get frustrated with humans, and you're just fuck it.
But then surely you push through and just, he said like our last gig we had played to 52 people in Stoke. Like surely, I know this is a really terrible example, but Hitler didn't give up when he only had 52 people coming to the beer killers when he was forming the Nazi party. Like,
yeah, but I think what I think about it is, right, even though this is all politically motivated, it's all one-sided. It's not like, that's why I love Bad Religion, because Bad Religion, all their songs are from, like, it's not one. They don't have a stance. They just point out, oh, look at this and look at that.
Oh, that's kind of interesting.
That's why, like, they got a song called "I Want to Conquer the World." It's one of the best punk songs ever, and it's just literally about how atheists are against Christians and religious people against atheists, and it's like, and the lyrics are genius. It's like, I'm like, oh, when I listen to it, I feel like, oh yeah, that's a good point. Oh, that's a good point. But they're not attacking anyone. This whole album is just fuck capitalism, and
I don't listen to lyrics.
I know, it just rubbed me the wrong way a lot of these songs. So, but musically, anyway, let's talk about the music. I like the guitar riff. It's a cool riff, right?
It's just everything about it's just fucking amazing.
Yeah, but the vocal
drumming.
sound, I think for punk songs, vocals are really important, and his voice is not bad. Just not interesting for me. It's not dynamic enough. Doesn't have a.
But isn't that the point? Isn't it supposed to be like?
No, because a lot of
muddled under the.
No, because a lot of punk bands that I like have really unique voices, or kind of like they have a dynamic thing to them. The voice, his voice is not even like Bad Religion is a good example. He basically talks. He doesn't really. Sing.
Really?
It's hard to explain.
I haven't listened to much of them, but
yeah, I'll say in the song, but but even that is just interesting. And then he sings the choruses. The verses are kind of like
okay. So he talks the verses,
and then he goes. So he's changing his voice. Where
I do love the line though. I've got a bone to pick and a few to break.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, see, even that I'm like, it grabs it. This whole album rubbed me the wrong way. With the lyrics, etc. Musically, I'm really into it. They did a good job producing it, considering that they didn't have any big producer on it.
Dude, and they did it on tape.
Like the heavy bits sound so tight. Like the end of this song when it's
this shit sounds better than a lot of like Pro Tools recorded like.
Oh, definitely. It definitely sounds like music,
Yeah. It doesn't sound unprocessed.
Dude, I thought quite bold though. This song's kind of a jam.
It is.
So for an opening album,
the first song to have not have a banger. It's good, but it's not like a,
Yeah.
I mean, it's quite interesting how they chose. It's kind of a jam. It's quite jammy, isn't it? So quite interesting choice as the first track. It sounds familiar though. I'm sure I've heard this somewhere.
About 3 years ago, when I was between homes and I stayed at yours, we had a night where we just stayed and listened to music. I put this on.
Yeah, for me, it's not catchy enough, and it's not heavy enough. It's not catchy enough to be like punky, that punk I like, and it's not heavy enough to be on the heavy side for me.
But this is the shape of punk to come.
I know.
This is the future.
Don't give me that bullshit. It's got an Italian outro. It's all singing in Italian or whatever. So
really?
I'm sure it's some fascist bullshit or whatever, but I like the guitar tone as well. I gotta give it that. But yeah, and a lot of guitar pedals too, which is cool. That is in the future. Everyone uses guitar pedals, so yeah, just rubbed me the wrong way. But I do like the guitar tone. But yeah, I give it 2 out of 5.
I was blown away by this. I actually really liked it.
Wow.
I didn't know what to expect with like the
good
poetry
job,
reading
Jamie.
at the very beginning. But this song is really good. I don't know. I've only had a chance to listen to it 3 times, so I wish I had a little bit more to say and dissect on it. But like, honestly, like the guitars, and I really like his vocals. I think like in the mix, they're just right. Like they're not too high.
Yeah,
he reminds me of Damien.
Yeah, I do.
It's funny because you said to me that you thought the guy from Snot reminded you of Damien.
Yeah, not like
this guy. The way he screams reminds me of you, Damien. And like,
I can see that.
Trust me, it's a
huge compliment. Yeah, I take it. I think it's great.
I don't get Damien in that a little bit out of it for the like what was it, Flexions, whatever, but don't get that total sound.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not bad. It's just it rubbed me the wrong way. It's just
Yeah. No,
I
I
guess,
get what you mean exactly. I know exactly what you mean.
Anyway,
But
2 out
I
of
was
5.
pleasantly surprised.
What do
5
you
out of 5.
4 out of 5.
All right, second track is Liberation Frequency. All right, yeah. So second song. Clean track.
Yeah. Ballsy.
James, you like it?
When I first heard this album, when I first bought it, this was one of the reasons why it didn't quite. Was the first song. I was like, "This is great," and then it goes to this, and I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, it is a bold choice.
But then, I guess my mind's been educated by this podcast because you two have said back then when this was made, albums, song titles were in. The album was in an order for a specific reason.
Yeah, you would do it like that. Yeah.
And they definitely had a plan as to this is why they want, this is the order, and the whole thing's done with like similar to songs from the Deaf, isn't it? There's like, it feels like you're listening to like a radio,
it does,
or like flicking through the radio show. The song itself, I like. It's catchy and it's poppy. I love how it sounds like the vocals are really suppressed for the verse, but then it kicks out. It is a bold choice, and I have to be in the mood to appreciate it following the first track. But individually, I really like the song.
Yeah, Dave?
I really like this. It has like elements of like, it's like ska or something, like
they got
Clash or something's in there. Like,
man, there's a lot of groove.
Damien,
ska,
that's because
Clash,
it's the shape of punk to come.
Exactly.
That does make sense, actually.
Yeah. This has like, it's oddly accessible, but it still has enough heavy elements that it's not going to turn away the more new metal kind of listener in me. So I was really impressed. I was really taken aback and like, this is dynamic and cool and fresh. Like this feels completely fresh to me compared to.
Yeah, I'd already heard this song because Paramore sampled it for one of their songs.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, this is a Paramore song. No, it's not. It's.
I'd be really interested to know what Refused think about Paramore sampling their songs. But no, I'd be really. I'd be really.
Yeah, that's good. The point to say.
Do you remember when we did At the Drive-In? I was talking about it was a who's who at the side of the stage. When they played it Download, it was ridiculous. And one of the people who was right at the front was Charlie Benante, who's Anthrax's drummer.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, I could. For me, he's one of the best metal drummers of all time. And I Googled Charlie Benante, and he's just like, oh, my favorite band are Refused. This is like the most influential.
Wow.
He said it's one of the most influential albums on, but he plays nothing like this, and Anthrax sound nothing like it. But he was just like, wow.
Yeah, I think when we're talking about influential, though, isn't it? I think it just music that gets you like, I want to practice. I think there's a difference between like, oh, I want to write
very,
this song.
very good point.
I think when you listen to some song, I'm like, I'm like, oh, I just want to play my guitar.
So maybe influential is the wrong word, like motivational is better.
Or just gives you that fucking like, You know,
I remember reading a review in a magazine after Refused played a Download. They did like some warm-up shows in Europe, and then I think they did one in London the night before Download. But when everyone came to see them, and in the review it said that like to the crowd they were like, you know, like absolutely had them rocking, but then when between songs, when they like turn around to like tune and stuff, and they saw all these like famous musicians, they were like a little bit intimidated and nervous and embarrassed. Like,
strange,
we'll turn around and look at the crowd again.
I love the clean. This whole album's got a groove to it, which I like. I love the clean part, but I don't like the heavy part. I hated. I just thought it just sounds from nowhere.
No,
I just thought
I like that.
And the vocalist sounds like the guy from a Ghost of a Thousand. They're a hardcore band from Brighton. But the vocalist has got this sound, and I was like, "Whoa!" Yeah, it just sounds like him. I was really surprised, but I don't know. I love that clean part. I just want to play that. And when it goes heavy, I was like, it's not. It doesn't seem like it's connected. It just seems to be like
jarring.
I think there's I know what you mean, but I think that's not what bad, they intended.
I'm not sure it's not bad, but I just like that clean part. It's good, and it's a cool song. Liberation Frequency, awesome. 3 out of 5.
5 out of 5.
I give it 3.5. I don't hate it, but
All right, the third track is called The Deadly Rhythm. Wow. So, when were you still playing drums? When you listen to this, were you playing drums at the time?
Yeah, I was.
Was this song making you want to go play drums? Cause
No, it made me want to retire because I thought I'd never be that good.
I see. That's interesting. That is. See. So for me, I'm like, when I hear something hot, I'm like, oh, I want to.
See, I really respect that in you because
Yeah.
I get intimidated and
See,
go the other
I'm
way.
like, I want to crack on with it, like, you know, yeah. It's interesting how people react to certain things, right?
I think it comes from if you have a natural talent, and B, if someone
Yeah.
tells you suck when you first start playing out.
Really?
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
people say that to you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've got more confidence in, like, I feel I'm getting better all the time, and I've got more confidence in Answer Me than I've ever had in any other band.
Yeah.
Because I was getting criticised in other bands.
See, I think it's like the reason why I love punk is because it's about the song. It's not. It doesn't matter if you can shred. Because look at it now. Look how many gent bands, instrumental bands are so like fucking soulless. Like, like, wow, you can shred a million miles an hour, but no one gives a fuck. You know, the fucking Ramones have a song called "I Want to Be Your Fucking Boyfriend." It's just 3 chords. And just guy going, "Hey, little darling." And it's like, I would listen to that song a million times before I listen to that fucking shit. So for me, I'm like, I can play. Do you know what happened to one of my friends? He said, like, I remember him saying, like, oh, I can already play everything I want to play on guitar. I don't need to learn anything else.
Nah, it's just
And
nonsense.
I was like, well, yeah, but you could still practice the stuff that you can do with it.
Yeah, I'm getting like, I've been practicing a lot of ghost notes. I was putting a lot of ghost notes in the song.
Yeah.
I said ghost 2 different ways there, in 2
yeah.
different accents. That was weird.
Yeah. No, I thought it was cool. You're doing a lot of. I can see that you're trying to work out the song, which is cool.
But
Did you just ghost note your accent?
I did, yeah. But yeah, this song is just. This is in possibly my top 20 songs of all time. I listen to this song all the time. I put it on the playlist to Osaka. No one fucking appreciated it.
I know. I really needed the upright bass in the middle of that.
It's just insane. Like, to start with that little jazz thing on the cymbals, and then it just kicks in and it just gets heavier and heavier. And oh man, to watch them play this live was so much fun.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Fucking awesome.
You really like this? Huh?
6 out of 5.
Damn.
Nice. Somebody needs to call Dillinger Escape Plan and fucking tell them quit ripping this fucking band
That's true.
off, dude, because holy shit.
I wrote that down.
Yeah. This sounds like, especially when he kicks in with the scream, you're just like, oh, that's exactly where they got that shit from. Like,
yeah.
So
this is my first time
awesome.
hearing this.
This is my, like, okay, cool. There's like, I've always wondered, like, where did Dillinger get their roots from? And they always like list a bunch of stuff that I'm like, yeah, you kind of sound like that, but you don't really. This though, like this, I'm like, you fucking you guys sound just like this shit.
It's weird how listening to it like 21 years later, how influential it's been.
Well, it's funny because we're 3 songs in, and I'm already like, oh, I can hear this, and this, you know, and yeah, absolutely.
So
yeah,
I'm a Dillinger fan, so I like this. I think this is great.
Me too. I think really good instrumentally and stuff. It's got energy, but I think no direction. Like there's no. It's still good. I like the chaos of it.
I take it into context. I'm like, okay, when this came out, if I hadn't heard all the other stuff that I've heard now,
that's true,
and how that's structured, then I would be blown away by this. So that's going to up my rating a little bit.
I'm sure I would have been blown away by it if it was that time ago. But
I was fortunate enough to see them live. I wish.
Yeah.
Can you imagine seeing these guys in somewhere like Badlands or 414? Like,
little tiny
Jesus
club.
Christ.
Right. Yeah, it'd be cool.
3 out of 5.
6.
I give it a 4. 4 out of 5.
Yeah, Dillinger, you owe these guys a sandwich. Or
fucking A.
All right, the 4th track is called Summer Holiday versus Punk Routine. Wow. I would in the future I might dive into what all these songs mean, but cool titles. Oh, octaves on guitars, nice.
Well, is that how they get that nice, like, kind of...
Yeah, it's like they're playing those octave chords. Very nice.
Yeah.
Man, I gotta say, the production is fantastic on this album. I'm very surprised, but the effect on the guitar is great. The bass in the verse, I mean, this is a funky fucking song, right? Yeah, vocals have got what I want. Dynamic character, you know, it's more, he's up and down, whatever.
I do love the line, rather be forgotten, remembered for giving in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which is weird, because considering they broke up a few weeks later and now they're massive again. Like,
yeah, it's like a weird. I think a techno vibe, cool techno funk.
There's some more of that coming later as well, isn't there?
Great vibe. Not really punk, but yeah, it's really good.
That's what's funny. They're a punk band, but there's a lot of elements here.
Yeah. More I listened to this, the more I enjoyed it. So yeah, Dame, what about you?
Yeah, it's a good track. Again, this one lost me just a little bit. I think they had two like kind of poppy ska beats too close together in the album.
Okay, yeah,
like if you spaced it out, put it like farther back, because I like the energy in it, but it's too close. It's too close to the other song.
Yeah.
Just, you know.
Yeah, it makes sense. James, you love this song, right?
I do. It's just it makes me happy. It feels like summer. And again, I'm sure there's like people might get pissed off with it being a bit too the lyrics or something. I the meaning of the lyrics when I listen, I just shut them out. I just listening to this song makes me really happy.
Yeah, it's a good song.
It's a really good song to be moving to. I listen to it when I'm on my bike. I used to listen to it a lot driving in the UK. I listen to it when I'm in the gym. It's
yeah, I like it. It's cool. I give it a 3 out of 5, 3.5, 3.5 out of 5.
Generous. Yeah, I give it a 3.
I'm gonna give it a 5.
Yeah, no, the reason why I can't give it that rating because I'm not getting that like fuck vibe from the songs. I'm enjoying them. I'm appreciating them.
See, it's weird because you two have only listened to this recently to do this podcast. I first heard this album 21 years ago, and I was a little bit disappointed. And here I am 21 years later, like, oh my, it's just
right.
Well, if any, this album kind of gets better every time I listen to it.
I guess so.
I would agree with you on that. Like, it's gotten consecutively better.
Let's re-listen to this back in 20 years. All right. Awesome. All right. Okay. Next song. It doesn't matter how punk you are. This time of the music, you can't escape the medley, the
electronic filler,
the what do you call it? The
waste of fucking time,
whatever. Why did they choose to put these things in here? This is really interesting. It sounds like video game music, doesn't it?
Man, I fucking like this stuff. I can't believe you guys don't like it.
No, I don't.
No, I do.
I
do. I don't skip this, but at the same, it's just.
What's the purpose of it?
I would never like choose to do this. If you guys came and said, "Oh, the Answer Me album, I'm going to put this in," I wouldn't. I'd just be like, if you want to go and like do your thing, boys.
Good, because we should.
What's the purpose?
I feel like you have tracks that like either we're not going to be able to write lyrics for, or they don't necessarily fit as an Answer Me song, but it might be a cool.
It's funny because I was
way to like.
I was literally playing my keyboard earlier with like weird stuff. All
that
right.
that kind of shit, like that makes sense that they'd be like, well, we have this laying around, we want to do something with it, but
right, I'm gonna send you some stuff later then. Okay, awesome. That makes me happy because I was thinking about it. I was like, I don't want to, but
yeah. And secondly,
awesome.
I'm up for getting weird.
Awesome.
Even to some acoustic stuff for album tracks.
Well, I got a bunch of like just kind of atmospherical shit I've made, whatever.
Don't hold out on us.
All right.
And secondly,
I'll set them up.
This sounds like every Dillinger like intermission song ever. So again,
that's true.
And I don't mean to keep like harshing on this, but I'm just like, holy fuck. Again, like I thought Dillinger Escape Plan was this like holy manna from God that we had gotten this like crazy combination of no. Like they've just been ripping this fucking band off the whole time. Yeah. And now we're gonna rip it off.
That's right, we are. All right, I'm not gonna give it a rating, but it's kind of interesting,
I'll give it a 4.
It's
because
cool.
I actually like it. It stuck out with me.
All right, next one. All right, so next song is called New Noise. Was this a single?
This was on a. It was on like a Metal Hammer or a Kerrang CD.
Yeah.
They did a video to it.
This
was the first song I heard. I was in a rock club called Eclipse, and the way it always used to work was all the skaters and the hardcore kids and the kids who thought they were really cool, we'd all get there like really fucking early, and the first 2 hours the DJ would he didn't care about like filling the dance floor or like the flow of the music. We'd go up to him with our CDs and say, can you play this? And then as it started to get busier, then there'd be like a clear pattern to the night. He'd put like the new metal on, and then you get into the glam, and then you get into the harder. But one of my friends brought this song and he's like, listen to this. And I was like, holy fuck. And I went and bought Metal Hammer just because the song was on this CD. And then I bought the album off the strength of this song.
Yeah, I've definitely heard this.
And when I first heard the album, I was really disappointed that all of the songs weren't like this because it's a bit, it's really heavy, but it's still really accessible. It's just like, and it's a bit comedy, like the woo, but fucking hell, it's a great song.
Dame?
Okay, this track, I love the drums, the drum production, all the different samples. I would hate to be a drummer personally, and it's no offense to any drummers or anything like that, but like to do the same thing over and over again just sounds like the most boring, like monotonous. Just like I would pull my hair out. So, but to be able to do something like this on drums, where I'm just like, and I'm gonna play this part, and I'm gonna play this part, and then we're gonna have like the slow tempo, and then like that sounds amazing. That sounds awesome. This got me excited to like record and write, and like the drums are all over the place. Specifically the album as a whole, but like this song really accentuates that.
And you know when he's doing the at the beginning, when I saw the video for this, when I was, how long had I been playing drums when I heard this? Maybe 4 or 5 years. When I saw the video and saw that he was doing it with one hand, and I couldn't do it with two. I couldn't keep a steady. And this guy's just there like. It's the same as done. It's the same as how I felt when I saw David from Korn, the cymbal at the beginning of Blind. It's all with one hand. And now I can.
So did you see him doing this live?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Fuck me when it kicked in, because everyone
the
just
drums
went
sound
crazy.
good, but you can tell they've been heavily edited, like with a groove.
I love that.
It's not bad. Everyone does it, but like, I think
does it.
They've recorded it tape, but the drums been edited with something, whatever. Because it's a bit, I can tell there's a groove shifter or something on it, but it's still obviously still playing it. So I know what you mean though. But so when you saw him doing that, it didn't inspire you to practice? You know?
No, it didn't.
That's really I
was more interested in smoking weed and looking cool. It's a massive regret. Like if I'd practiced and thought about things back then, as I do now, I would be a world-class drummer.
Yeah, but you wouldn't be here, so we need you to
true.
not do that now, so that you can do it, or not do it then, so you can do it now.
Well, no, I'm gonna do it with Answer Me. That's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of like drum and bass stuff in this song, right? The build-up and the bass sound, whatever. Amazing guitar sound.
But you're right. Now, when I hear stuff like this, and I'm sat at home, I just get my sticks out and go on my pad.
Yeah. It makes me want to play it, you know?
Yeah.
I like there's a sample of the crowd, etc. in it.
Oh, I love that. I love when people sample crowds.
That's cool. Yeah. It's kind of cool. Yeah, but still, it's
not doing it for you.
Not great. Not hugging me. But I like that. At the beginning, I was like, oh, that sounds cool. Really nice riff. Well played. Yeah. I can't really talk about it because I just I thought it was a good song. Probably the best song.
I'm in the same boat as you. I just haven't had enough time to process it and think about it. Over the last 2 days, I've been listening to it. So like, I just haven't
I've been
had...
listening for 2 weeks, but I've been like, I don't know. I really appreciate your excitement, etc. But it's just I'm not getting. You know.
I think this album is a grower. I think it's one of those ones you have to like come back to.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I give it a 3 out of 5.
I'm gonna give it a 5.
I got a 4.
Okay. All right, next one is the Refused Party Program. I like how they use their name and stuff in the songs. It's kind of cool.
It's a great song title.
Yeah. So,
I'm gonna use our band name in a song title.
Answer Me This.
The Answer Me Survey.
Oh man, recently I heard Answer Me in so many TV shows and movies.
Yeah, I'd love to get if there's anywhere we can get a montage of.
Damien, how do you feel about punk intro speeches about anti-capitalism?
I loved it. Capitalism is a crime. Or what did he say?
Yeah. Capitalism is indeed organized crime.
Yeah, loved it. That's awesome.
Oh, God.
Got me fired up. I was like, fuck yeah. Like, let's tear it down.
It's weird because he's very clever with this, because his speech before he says that it could be about anything. It's just like nice poetry. He says it and it kind of winds me up a little bit, but then it's because
you're a capitalist.
Yeah, maybe it's because he's better than me, and I'm gonna go home tonight and I'm gonna turn on my Sony PlayStation and watch my LG TV, and then I'm gonna go and buy a brand of beer because
I would love to hear these guys like. So what's their idea for how the world should work?
It seemed like they were super anarchy guys. Like,
sounds like
disassemble everything and let the world sort itself out kind of guys.
Yeah,
I don't know. I couldn't. This is like Wikipedia I'm looking at, so I really don't know. I didn't look at any song lyrics.
But then it's interesting that they like you said. I don't know why they quit. Whether it was because they didn't feel their message was getting across. But like, for you to just quit after you've spent so much time and you've done an album,
Yeah.
Like that also indicates to me that they kind of fell out of love with playing music a little bit. But then now they're back and they flared up and they did loads of big gigs and they got massive support slots around Europe because of this album. And now everyone still loves this album, but their current stuff and the gigs they're doing now, they're kind of back down to like smaller venues and low level, which makes me think, are they back doing it because they just love playing music with each other?
Right.
Have they chilled out? Are they just friends and they're just like, oh, this is fucking cool?
Yeah.
I'd love to sit down and talk to them.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't sit down and listen to this because I just, once I heard that, it just made
Did you
me...
turn it off?
No, I listened to it, but I was just like,
okay.
don't care. 0 out of 5.
Oh.
Just because of one lyrical line?
No, it's not that. It's the whole thing about it. It's just like, I just...
But the music's just...
It's all right. Not bad. Just couldn't hear the music.
This, have you listened to any Mr. Bungle?
I haven't, no.
Because this is along the same lines to me.
Patton loves them as well.
Oh, does he? Is it okay?
Oh,
That
absolutely.
makes a lot of sense. But like, it's just like, rambling and then just like weird shit, and then it stops and then it happens again, and then like it's all over the place. And I've really appreciated it with this album. It held my attention.
Yeah.
It was fresh for being 20 years old. It's fresh.
Yeah.
But
I don't know what it just winds me up because I have my opinion. I don't mind listening to other people's opinion, but like it just feels like let's just break down the walls and free everybody and like
But it's really weird because you really like hardcore, and that's what a lot of the lyrics are about.
No, the hardcore I like is like the fucking stamping on your face and hitting people and shit.
Really?
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, honestly. So in the future we're gonna have some guests on, and we're gonna talk about the band called Shit in a Bag and Punch It, which is one of my favorite ones. Which is like it's just
that's the name of the band.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was just. It's not even a real band. It's really, it's kind of like a urban legend that happened. So anyway, I'll tell you this funny story, right? So 3 guys in this other band made the band Shit in a Bag and Punch It, right?
Okay.
And all the songs were just about being Cardiff City hooligans. They were really Cardiff City hooligans, and we just made the songs. I've always been a fighter till I die, and I won't stop stamping on your face until you fucking die. And it's all like that, right?
Yeah, that kind of shit.
All right, anyway, and they posted the song. It's a joke, basically, but half serious, to like this music forum, and everyone shit on it, like. And all these guys are super punk, like and those guys I fucking hate. I was on the other side of like fucking. It should be let's have some fun and joke whatever. And for me, music is not like. Do you ever hear that Bowling for Soup song? I'm gay. Like, I think rock and roll is really funny when it's serious. It's like I totally agree with that. Like I just when they're being like hey, we're gonna change the world with my fuck off.
Punk does have a PR problem where like it tends to take itself too seriously.
Exactly.
I agree with everything you're saying, but it's just I just choose to.
But what I could, but. Like a lot of bands that I love.
So then, does that make you more like them because you can't switch off from it?
No. I mean, I can't. What I mean is, for example, like there's a band called Wilhelm Scream and Propaganda, who are both bands who are like this. They got their points, but they just don't. They're just making points. They're not saying. Like clear. They're not direct about it. They're just like, oh, this is what I feel, and that's it. And that's what I'd be like.
So how do you guys feel about like Rage Against the Machine? Because
I was just about to say.
Well, to be honest, I can barely understand what he says, so I can't.
It's in your favor because he's saying some pretty like aggressive.
His voice, I don't even hear it.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't even tell you one Rage Against the Machine line. Except
I've never like lyrics are something that have never been so important to me.
They're not,
but at the same time, when they're really shit, like they piss, like Stained, for example, just someone fucking.
No, it's just but when you put an intro at the beginning of the song where you're going, capitalism is whatever it is, and I'm not saying I disagree with it. I just can't anyway. But yeah, I'm on the Shit in the Bag and Punch It side of hardcore.
Speaking of band names, Damien, what was the Gary Busey something project?
My Gary Busey Kite project.
Literally, I cannot see that guy without laughing. I've tried watching.
I should find the quote. I should find it because it was on The Apprentice, and it would probably be easy.
I watched Lethal Weapon last week. I brought some of my Blu-rays back from England, and I brought Lethal Weapon. Gary Busey came on, and he used to terrify me as a kid, and then he came on screen, and I just started laughing because of you.
Anyway, this song is 0 out of 5 for me.
Oh, fuck off. 3 out of 5.
Dave?
I give it a 4 actually. This one got me kind of pumped up. Yeah.
All right, next one. Next up is the protest song 68. Oh, I like the drum panning at the beginning.
It's just
Panning.
isn't it just
Drum panning.
beautiful?
Cool chord.
Again,
progression.
this was another thing when I heard.
Yeah.
I was just like, I'm never going to be able to do that.
Do you know what? This what I wrote down sums up my whole opinion of this. Nice drum panning, cool chord progressions, no hooks, just no.
Yeah. There's nothing that really stood out with this one
I like a chorus. Me.
that like grabbed me. I do, some of the, I'll go back. Some of these other tracks, like I really like his repetition
Yeah.
because he'll repeat a certain line over
That's
and over
true,
again,
yeah,
and it
yeah,
really
yeah.
builds with like intensity and
That's true.
anger and stuff. I'm like, man, some people do that really poorly, but some people like was it a Slipknot album that we listened to, and it's like, man, you repeat that line and it just doesn't. It loses.
Oh,
stuff.
Iowa is a masterpiece.
Yeah.
I fucking
There
love
was
it.
something else. Coheed. He repeats some of the lines, and I'm just
Oh
like,
yeah.
maybe don't repeat that.
Once again, that's the first album, and I do agree with you. Even though I love Coheed, but I'm not like blind to it like most people are. There's a lot of bad things with that, that album.
but just some of it, it's like, man, just like change it a
Yep.
little bit, like do something
learning,
different. But this one, the lines he repeats, I don't know if he does in this track or not, but the lines he repeats
Yeah.
really do it for me.
James, do you like this song?
I love the beginning. I think,
Yeah.
and again, what Damien says, I agree. Vocally, it's one of my favorite ones, but musically, it's not.
Yeah, well, that's makes
It kind
sense.
of.
Yeah,
I
like
have
you
to
said,
be.
there's no
I-
hooks,
I-
man.
I have to
No
be in
hooks.
the. I have to be in the mood to listen.
Mhm.
But it's weird. As much as I love this album, it's very, very rare that I listen to this album all the way through.
Yeah.
I hardly ever listen to the tracks in the all.
That's
order
funny
they
because
intended.
that's the only way I listen to it. Like I've been putting frames together and stuff all week, and I've been listening to this like in order, and it's been fucking awesome. Like I really like it
Oh,
as a
really?
whole.
That's cool.
That's
man.
cool. I'm glad to have
I was gonna say,
given,
man,
given you
like,
something.
I can,
Oh.
with Jamie, I know that when you tell someone, "Oh, look this," and they really like it, it's like I can tell you.
I
really
do.
enjoy
I'm
it.
gonna.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
gonna. I feel
Yeah.
like I've achieved something
Yeah.
today.
Awesome. All right, for me, 2.5 out of 5.
I'm gonna. Depending on my mood, it's either a 4 or a 2.
I'll give it a 3.
That's a good description. And I know what you mean. All right, next. Okay, the next song is called Refused or Fucking Dead. Once again, the band name in the title. And this is the name of the letter that they broke up with as well, which is Refused.
that's
or
kinda
Fucking Dead.
fitting.
Makes sense,
I
right?
like it.
Yeah.
It's better than 12 chimeric bombastations and whatever it was.
I like that.
I
That's
do
true.
like it, but
Yeah, all right, Damon, do you want to build on what you said you're enjoying this? What do you think of this?
Fucking hey, man, he sounds just like Greg Puciato from Dillinger.
I know, that's true.
And I used to think that guy had such a like unique voice, and here it is, like,
Oh no, we're breaking hearts on this
Replicated.
podcast.
oh. But that doesn't mean I like instantly liked it.
Of course,
I, like,
it never
I
means
was
that, does it?
fuck, like this is great. Like, I'm really excited to listen to this and be able to reference it in the future and actually use this as inspiration in the future because
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes Dillinger stuff gets a little too chaotic, but
Yeah.
these guys do a really good job of keeping like that chaos under just enough control. Like,
Oh, that's a good
it goes
point. I
out of
agree.
control
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
they like
yeah,
dial
yeah,
it back
yeah.
in.
Yeah,
you
you're
know,
right, you're
make
right.
it accessible again.
You know, see, I think this is why we should be doing albums that, number one, we haven't heard before, and
Mhm.
even ones that we didn't like back then. Because
Yeah,
I think even though we joke about doing like Papa Roach and shit like that, but I know
I've never actually given it a
yeah,
chance.
exactly.
You know?
Yeah, honestly, most bands you go like, I don't like them. I've barely listened to 80% of their stuff, So
Yeah.
you're right, man. I do agree with you. The chaos thing here, and yeah, you're right. Totally agree. Yeah, Jim, what do you think?
the guitars at the beginning, they just sound so heavy.
Yeah,
It's great. I love it. I remember when I saw them. I feel like I'm doing this a lot on podcasts if I've seen a band live,
yeah.
but because it's my only visualization of. Do you know what I mean? You
Yeah,
have
that's
this
fine. That's
visualization.
fine. Yeah.
I remember my girlfriend at the time I was at Download with, and she was working. She wasn't there as a spectator. She used to work for the BBC.
Okay.
And she came and watched some of the bands with me. She fucking hated Lamb of God. Caius played. Caius Lives, the kind of reunion.
Yeah,
she
yeah,
quite
yeah.
liked them. She came and watched a few with me, and she didn't really like them. But I remember her saying this was.
Oh,
she
she
thought
liked
this
this
was the best song. It was like the way, just it was really jumpy, and they had everything going. It definitely wasn't one of my favorite songs. It still isn't, but I first thought this was like an album filler until I saw them do it live.
Huh.
But now I
Yeah.
love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I really love the main riff, like it's got that like really chaotic, cool. I don't know. It sounds like something I
Yeah,
would
it does.
come up
It does.
with.
There were some of these riffs. I was like, oh, this sounds like
Honestly,
something Ashley would kick.
I'll be honest with you, a lot of the album I was like, oh, I would have done that. Oh, I would have done that. So it feels like I've listened to this album before, or maybe I've just, through influences or whatever, I've come up with.
Right. Like you said, like their influence, like Fugazi or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
I think the intro is shit though. I mean, it's pointless. It doesn't. The key. It's out of key again. It doesn't even lean into it. I like when intros build into something. I hate fucking when they don't do that. Yeah, just. Vocals are good again, dynamic again. This is, I like when he does vocals like this, when he's going up and down, and like Dillinger, Refuse style. Sorry, not Dillinger style.
Wait, I gotta flip it.
Yeah, I love the ending part or whatever. But once again, punk without choruses. I hate punk without choruses.
Yeah, it does. But it doesn't snap it together. Then, like if you go crazy and you need that. I know,
but I like it.
Okay, so here's a question.
No, I'm agreeing with you. Like I say, like if you don't have that thing that like ties it back.
Exactly, you got to have a rock to.
So here's a question. If this album didn't have the word punk in the title, would you associate it with punk? Because I absolutely would not.
I would still.
Yeah, I think so.
Just certain elements of it. But I would associate it with it, but I probably wouldn't put it in the punk section.
Okay.
That's a good question. I think, I don't know. I think I would just call it like post-hardcore or like hard post-hardcore. Maybe. Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. Because is that? You're right. I don't know.
Because when I heard this, I was listening to just like a lot of metal. And I was listening to at 98. I was listening to like Deftones and Korn and Incubus and Pantera and Fear Factory, and I had at that time I even thought I'd become too cool to listen to like Green Day and Offspring. Yeah, and then I heard this, and like
I think so. I think punk, and I think until before 1990 there was a punk sound. Like, the Pistols and but guitars or whatever. Right. The Clash were a little bit different as well. I think punk is not really. I think we associate punk with like like that. But really, that was only like a few bands. And actually, there's like I think punk is more of the like what you're talking about.
Punk the message,
like that. Yeah. But the actual punk sound is actually not. Most punk bands don't even use it. Even like Green Day never. They got some cool chord progressions and stuff like that.
Right.
Blink-182 are probably the biggest ones who use that progression, but you would probably say they were more pop, because they're singing whatever. Yeah, that's a good point though. Yeah, this band sound more on the heavy side, but obviously because of what they're talking about, I would say they're punk because of the topic. Good point. You're right.
If they'd have called this The Shape of Thrash to Come, I wouldn't have thought it sounded like thrash, but then I would have thought maybe some people thought this was the next.
Yeah, you're right. Well, I give it 3 out of 5. I enjoyed it, but I don't like the intro.
I wonder if sometimes like you just don't know what to define yourself as. You're just like,
it's hard, right?
We're punk. You're just like,
I'm not in any way, shape, or form.
Have you listened to other? Because this is like their third album.
The first album's like. Sorry, I haven't really listened to the first one. The new one that they did after they got back together, I don't.
That's not punk either.
It just kind of sounds like post-hardcore by numbers to me.
Yeah.
It sounds like I don't know, like not as good as this, basically.
Yeah. What do you give this song, Jim?
I give this a 4.
Damien?
I'll give it a 3.
Okay.
Because I don't remember it.
All right, moving on. All right. So this song is called "The Shape of Punk to Come," and this reminds me of fucking hell. So what's that movie called? Rocket Raccoon.
I am not familiar with what you're talking
Rocket
about.
Raccoon. The raccoon is in it. The Marvel movie is a raccoon.
Oh
Rocket.
fuck!
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. So I saw a petition last week. The real guy who created Rocket Raccoon.
Okay.
He's got no money from it. And now he's in hospital. Ouch. And he's asking for money for donations and stuff. He drew Rocket Raccoon, and it just reminds me of like this band came out, and then just everyone just used them, and now they're all famous, and this band are not, because fucking hell, you know what? It's I can tell how influential it is because the Dillinger stuff. And you know what? I'm sure I wrote this song. Like,
dude, I was gonna be like, this, like, I like when you do this kind of stuff.
When we played Sweet Tooth, the beginning of Sweet Tooth reminds me of this. Just just constant snare.
I write these kind of riffs all the time, and I just never use them. And it's like,
and I like the like jazzy chord where they like hit it and let it ring.
Jazz,
and my
all the riffs
my drums at the beginning of Chromatic Dragons were influenced by this song. the
okay,
ride
okay.
cymbal, and then
Yeah, honestly, this band.
I
are
just
the
can't
Rocket
do it as well.
Raccoon.
Oh, this is the song. Yeah, I was gonna say it's just like Chromatic Dragons. Holy shit.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like the start stops. With
Yeah,
yeah. Okay.
yeah, and I'm doing exactly where I'm just like coming off the hi hat and flamming the snare and then going back
Yep.
onto it.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's it.
It's absolutely.
yeah, very influential band. I can
We
tell.
gotta
Like,
buy him a sandwich now.
yeah, we owe him a sandwich. Man, this is my kind of song. I love it. But once again, no choruses. But Jamie, you like a chorus, right? Which is,
I do.
Ah.
I love a chorus,
But
but
it
then,
doesn't take you away
But
from
then
it,
there's
yeah.
a lot of bands that I love that I don't
They
need
have a chorus. It's the all
kind of.
dressed up with nowhere to go,
Yeah,
which
I
has
know,
been
but-
stuck in my head since I listened to this thing.
Yeah, that's true. That is kind of a chorus. It's not. You know,
Love it.
it's not a banger, is it?
It is a banger.
Yeah, the song is a banger.
That to me sounds really punk. The like anti-chorus. The
Yeah.
like it's a
Yeah,
chorus,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it's not really like a
Whatever. Okay. Fair dues. It's good. I like this song. But yeah, when I heard it, I was like, oh, I'm sure I've written this variation of chord.
You're gonna
or
go back
whatever,
to your archive and be like,
like I like that. Even like
Yeah.
chord drive. It's kind of like
That's
that, isn't
it.
it? Yeah. By the way, if you want to listen to our albums, all available on iTunes and Spotify. Answer Me, Animus, Answer Me with the Dust and Dirt. Check it out. Yeah. Anyway, I give this song 3.5 out of 5.
5.
I'm gonna get a 5.
Yeah, really good though. It'll probably go up in a couple of days.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, this song is called, or it's a Swedish or something, or German or something. Tannhauser, derive or something. Looks German, the last word. Yeah, I have no idea. Cool intro, sounds like a film.
Yeah, it does. Amazing.
Yeah, but I just don't like the end part. I like the Tannhauser part. I don't like the
It does sound like a typical song that's kind of ending an album by a
Yeah.
band that know that they're
Yeah.
fantastic
I
musicians and
love
they're just
the-
getting a
that,
bit
that
like.
build up is really, really good. But when it
And
just goes, I'm like, whatever.
And I love it when it kicks in. So
Yeah.
it's almost fitting that his vocals are, and where do we go from here?
Yeah.
And then the song just kind of goes,
Yeah.
just disappears into the ether.
Yeah, it's like what's it called, Sweet Child of Mine, right? Where they put Where Do We Go?
Yeah,
that part they literally like, where do we go? And I just put it in the song. And then
Really? That's the story behind
But
it?
then that bit,
Yeah.
but then it kicks into amazing bit.
Yeah, but at the beginning they were like, where do we go? And then he didn't know what to sing on that part, so he just says,
really?
where do we go? Oh, and then
How funny,
and then build
man.
up into it.
Interesting.
Yeah, that song is crazy because it's all from just a riff he was making up on the spot, and then Axel chucked a poem down,
Yeah.
and then just writes this insanely famous, brilliant song. Like,
I fucking love Guns N' Roses.
yeah. Anyway, yeah, this song I re-listened to the intro. I like the build up. See, go somewhere, and then I don't like where it went, but kind of like Game of Thrones. But yeah, I give it 3 out of 5.
I'm going to give the first.
I'm enjoying it more at the end of the album.
I'm going to give it the first half 5 out of 5, and then the kind of second half.
Oh my god, are there any
2.
albums where the beginning is shit and it gets better at the end? Oh, that's a good one. Please, anyone's got
I
any
think
suggestions?
Tool has a couple, but yeah.
Oh yeah, album where the beginning's weaker than the end of it. Oh,
Yeah.
if you have any suggestions, email us. We should have gone university@gmail.com, Twitter, all that shit. Dane, what do you think of this song?
I would love to make a song and an album like this album and like this song. This is what Damien would do in his bedroom by himself. If I like have other
I
people to
see.
make music with, like it would just kind of like meander and jump to different things, and then 3 minutes straight of like toms and shit. Like it's self-indulgent, but
Yeah.
like if you're making music for yourself to listen to, this is probably what I would make.
All right. Cool.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. I give half the song I give 3 out of 5. The other half I give 0.
I'd give half 5, half. What did I say? 3.
Yeah.
So
I'll give
overall,
both halves a 5, so we can
Awesome.
just even it out.
All right, last song. The Apollo program was a hoax. Wow, upright bass. They love that. Apparently, it sounds like a Swedish folk song or something.
yeah.
I quite like it. The acoustic guitar and stuff, etc. Can you hear the squeaky chair? This is totally.
Is there?
Yeah, they recorded it basically in a room. Like, just didn't bother editing anything out. You can hear the chair squeaky.
My
That's
weird
cool.
thing. My
That's
weird
really
thing
cool.
I like that.
with albums that end on songs like this is I quite like this song.
Yeah, me too.
But
I like it.
The thing is, if this was in the middle of the album and it was gonna
Yeah.
like a cool jumping track was gonna
Yeah.
follow it, I'd absolutely just listen to it. But after Tannhauser, I've just it's done.
Yeah, structure-wise in the
Yeah.
album, it's kind of
It just I, like
So they should
it leaves it leaves me disappointed. Like
they
Game
should
of
have had
Thrones.
that Tannhauser one, and then they should have had like one of those like ska, more
Yeah.
poppier ones,
Nah,
and
man,
then this
They're
track, like
totally
something-
punk. They
something
don't
like
follow
that, yeah.
rules, man. They're punk. They
rebels.
do everything. That reminds me, like, you know, like in films where they have like a really random song at the end, like it's totally
Mhm,
unrelated to the
mhm.
song. It's like
Yeah.
that. But I like it. It's a cool song, and you know, I like the whole. I like capturing room sounds and things like that.
That part's pretty cool. I mean, if they did just record it and just
Yeah.
like leave it, like that's pretty sick. That brings up a good point. A lot of his vocals aren't doubled. He
No.
hasn't done
No,
any
no, no,
like
no, no.
production,
That's true,
anything.
that's true.
It's like one take, one track all the way through. Fucking cool. Like that's
Yeah,
ballsy,
that's a
dude.
good point.
Nobody does that kind of shit.
Yeah, I gotta say, I quite enjoyed. I hate the anger. The album gives me anger and emotion all in one, which is what you want, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
I enjoyed the whole experience of it. So
My work
Yeah.
here is done.
yeah, I'm really I quite enjoyed it. Good choice, man. So we're gonna go to some listener requests.
Yes, please.
And we had a little talk about it, and we're gonna do Tool,
Anima.
and what was the other one? I forgot.
So I had a choice of Deftones, White Pony, or Around the Fur.
Oh, right. It's all right. White Pony Around the Fur.
I'm gonna go White Pony.
White Pony, all right. So Jamie has said this is not a good
No,
representation.
I've changed my mind because the two I had,
Yeah.
the two choices I had, I think Around the Fur is not a very
All right.
good.
All right.
Representation.
White Pony, Deftones, and
Tool.
Tool and Emo, which should be good. So I'm excited to do that. So if you have any comments or enjoyed the podcast, you can email us at weshouldhavegoneuniversity@gmail.com. Tweet us at Gone to Unipod. We're on Instagram and things like that. And also we have a Patreon. So if you want to support the band, fucking hell.
I owe you 2,000 yen, don't I? For the
Oh, that's right. You do.
I
Thank
do.
you.
I don't have it on me.
No, definitely.
So about it now.
I get that next month. Yeah. Anyway, we have the Patreon just because listen, we got we pay $20 to hosting costs. If you can chip in, if you want to, cheers. But once again, we talked about this last time. It's one of my pet hates now on podcasts is people just going, "Oh, if you could support it, it would mean so much to us." It really would. Like,
I mean, it would be nice, but we don't fucking need to
yeah,
keep
but
doing this.
I don't. I'm not asking people for money, but I'm just, it's there if you want to donate,
Right.
whatever. Because some people want to. I mean,
but
I
like,
do too.
but like, we don't need it, but like, we want it.
Yeah, it's there. No, because like I said, it costs $20.
I love how we've spent more time talking about it than the people who were
Yeah.
pissed off with for going, please try and help us.
Yeah, but there's a difference between going, lying.
I know exactly
You know
what
what
you
I
mean,
mean? Like, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and it's like, oh, if you just support us, and
Yeah,
they just
that feels disingenuous,
Exactly,
right?
I hate
feels
it. It's
bullshit.
like-
yeah.
like all of this. This costs $20 a month for us to put up. Everything
Yeah.
is good. If we could get better microphones, whatever. But that would be if 4 people donate $5, that's it. We pay for the podcast every month. No one has, and that's it. But I'm not going to say, guys, we really need your support, please.
We
Could you
need
just,
more beer.
Yeah, could you just chip in? Because but fuck off, idiots. Anyway, I enjoyed this album in all ways that are possible to enjoy something. So we'll see you next time with Deftones and Tool. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.